We should really careful, very careful about what we say, especially if we are in the media or if we are politician, because one word could make a war, and as well one word could end a war. So that's why we should really choose what we want. So I think we should all be constructive and be very responsible about what we say, about what we do, and try to make this world much better.
Welcome to One in Tribe. I am your host, Julie Fidalgo, and today I have Dr. Nidal Shuher with me. Dr. Nidal is an internationally recognized French-Lebanese governmental strategic consultant with over 20 years of experience across Europe and the MENA region. Throughout his career, he has advised governments and official institutions on critical strategic projects, specializing in image management, messaging strategies, and governmental relations. A prominent media analyst, he is frequently sought after for his insights on international affairs, appearing in major media outlets and contributing analytical articles in French, Arabic, and English to leading publications worldwide. Welcome, Dr. Nidal, to One in Tribe.
Thank you, Julie. I'm very happy to be with you today and to participate in your podcast.
Thank you. Well, Dr. Nidal, I always like to start at the very beginning. Please tell our audience where you are from and where you currently reside.
As you said in the introduction, I'm French Lebanese. I'm originally from Lebanon. I was born in Lebanon and I stayed there until the age of 25. So the first, a big part of my life was in Lebanon, which is a very impressive country, and not only in the region, I think all over the world. Lebanon is very specific with interculture, interreligious, everything. Lebanon is really very special, very special country. So I raised up there. Lebanon is really part of me, and it's part of my DNA. Being Lebanese, it's in your DNA. And as you know very well, Julie, Lebanese are everywhere in this planet. So I think this is Lebanese DNA, and I walked through the road that more than 80% of Lebanese did in the history, immigrations. So I came in Paris, in France, 2007, and I started another phase from my life here in France and Paris.
And what made you leave Lebanon?
As I told you, Julie, it's part of Lebanese DNA. More than 80% of Lebanese, they are migrants. They are everywhere. If you look on some countries, you'll find more migrants than in Lebanon. For example, Brazil, there is around 8, 9, 10 million, I don't know, Lebanese origin in Brazil, while in Lebanon there is 4 million. So it's part in our DNA. I think it's ambition. It's looking for a challenge. It's looking for something new, looking for opportunities. First of all, I wanted to study more. So I came for study, and after that, I stayed here because in Lebanon there is a lot of problem in Lebanon. It's very rich in culture and religion, but part of it's richness, and the other side is problem. It's obstacles to go through. So even if you are in the system in Lebanon, there is a huge sectarian system in Lebanon. So even if you are inside it, so you go with the flow. And some people, they don't find themselves, in this system. So they look somewhere else for another life, another adventure, another ambition. And that was my problem in Lebanon. Not problem. That was, I think, my main purpose to leave Lebanon.
Dr. Nidal, are the Lebanese?
Well, you know, in Lebanon, there's a lot of identities. So I can't say that there is one Lebanese. There is a lot of kind of Lebanese, but mainly being Lebanese, that means that you are ambitious. This is, I think, the main part in the Lebanese identity. Uh, you seek something somewhere else. Lebanese, they can be. There is a lot of, as we said, a lot of Lebanese migration all over the world, and they all integrated well in the societies. You don't ever hear that there is a problem about the integration of any Lebanese in somewhere. So I think Lebanese, this is Lebanon. This is Lebanese. They can integrate. They are very ambitious. They like to work. They like to study. They like other cultures. They love life. This is also very important. It's like the phoenix bird. Is it right? It's we love life, and that's why I think there is a lot of wars during the history of Lebanon, and Lebanon stays Lebanon, and Lebanese, even during the war, they like to live life. They live life. So I think this is Lebanon for me. And as Gibran said, you have your Lebanon, I have mine. So each one see Lebanon from a different perspective. But for me, this is Lebanese. Being Lebanese, that being ambitious, you like to live. You are attached to life. You are attached to peace.
You mentioned wars and that Lebanon has had so many wars in the past. But you also said that Lebanese leave Lebanon because of ambition. Like you mentioned, Brazil, my home country. I am Lebanese, between, they say, 8 to 10 million. And Lebanese are in Africa and Europe. They are literally spread out all over the world. But other than the ambition, was it the war or the multiple wars that made them all leave? Not all, but many leave.
Most of them, more than 80%.
Yeah.
I think it started with ambitious. If we want to go back in the history, especially during the Phoenician age, they traveled not because of the war. They traveled because of ambition to discover and to trade. You understand? So they played a main role even in delivering culture outside of Phoenicia, outside of Lebanon. But for sure, after that, the main purpose, especially in the last century, was war. And from the 18th century, I think it has been a huge immigration wave from Lebanon, especially of the existence of the Ottoman Empire, because Lebanon was part of the Ottoman Empire. That's why we've seen that most of these migrants, they were from a particular sects and they left because certain problem. And that's what even the economical situation, which is related between brackets to wars, as well, it's a main purpose for Lebanese to leave Lebanon. But Lebanese like to discover. This is DNA. So even if they don't being as migrant or a diaspora outside, they like to travel, they like to discover, they like to trade, they like other cultures. This is Lebanese identity. But certainly, wars plays a major point in the Lebanese migration history.
Dr. Nidal, you briefly talked about the different sects of Lebanon. You mentioned there's a population of 4 million right now in the country?
Around 4 million, yes.
Around 4 million.
Plus, minus.
Okay, I won't hold you to it. When we talk about the religious sects, can you basically break it down a little bit for us to understand how many there are?
Well, in Lebanon, usually there is between, I think 17, officially it's 17, but unofficially I think it's 18. So there is a lot of sects. And as I told you before, it's good, being in Lebanon, that you have friends from all religious. It's something really very good for you. But the problem in Lebanon is not the sects, it's not the religion, It's entering these sects in the political system, because everything in Lebanon is based on this sectarian system. So everything is divided in these 18, 17 sects. For example, in Lebanon, if you are not Maronite, you don't have the ambition, for example, to be a president. If you are not Sunnite, you can't be prime minister. If you are not Shiite, you can't be Speaker of the House. And this, it's in everywhere in Lebanon, in everywhere. So that's why I told you in Lebanon, you should follow someone. If you follow someone, okay, you can go with the flow. But if you don't follow, if you are not in this system, it's very difficult for you to go on. Huh? It's very complicated. I think it's the most important challenge for Lebanese today. I think they are prisoners of this system. They can't get over it. They are inside it. And, religion is very good, but when religion and these sects enter in every single details in your life, become an obstacle.
If every single person in the country belongs to a different sect, then at the end of the day, not one person who's been chosen is going to make everyone happy, correct?
Exactly.
So what is the solution to this problem?
First of all, we should say that there is a problem.
Do they not see that it's a problem?
No. Until now, because in Lebanon, Judy, there is a huge identity problem. I've been talking about Lebanese identity. That's how I see Lebanon. But unfortunately, in Lebanon, it's not that. In Lebanon, you have sectarian identity. You say that you are Christian, you are Muslim, you don't say that you are Lebanese. So the main belonging in Lebanon for citizen is for sex. After that, you are Lebanese. You understand me? And we see it because there is a lot of people in Lebanon, they have a different vision for Lebanon, for the future of Lebanon. Some people, for example, look to country X as a friend, others they are enemy, and the same people look for country Y that they are enemy, the others it's a friend. You understand me? There is a huge, it's a huge problem, and we've seen that. And it was really, we can see it in the last 2 years with the war, with the Israeli war on Lebanon. Conflicts that started by 7th of October. It's really too bad, and everything in Lebanon, I think, is prisoner of this system, this sectarian system. That's why I think if you want really to have a new Lebanon, the Lebanon of Gibran, the Lebanon of, we should be Lebanese, only Lebanese. Point. Lebanese.
I imagine that all Lebanese, even though they have different religious beliefs, they all want peace. So if they could come together as that being their main ambition, as Lebanese that want peace.
Julie, there is a lot of ways, between brackets, to pursue peace, to have peace, so it's you don't have one way. So each one will think that they have their right way. You understand me? And the problem is not religious. That's the problem. The problem, you've built a system in Lebanon. Everything is divided on these sects. So it's interests. It's not religious. all religions, they ask for tolerance, for peace, for dialogue. But in Lebanon, it's, for a small country to have a lot of sects is very, yes, it's very problematic. Huh? And you can add on this, you have a lot of migrants. And if any problem in the region happens, more migrants come to Lebanon. So you have a lot of problem. And as well, we cannot avoid the role that Western country did, to impose this system, to create the system, and also, to make it alive until now.
I'm a dreamer, Dr. Nidal. I just want everyone to love one another and have peace. And so I think I'm always just trying to find a solution and figure out why. Because it's unfortunate. Lebanon, I've been there a few times. I have Lebanese blood in me, and it's just such a beautiful country with beautiful people, beautiful food, beautiful landscape. And it's a pity that there's so much chaos and they just can't figure out a system for everyone.
Everything is beautiful in Lebanon except Lebanese mentality. Going in this way, the way of sectarian system. It's weird, for a smart people, for smart population, that they find themselves in this situation. It's really weird.
Well, do you feel like they lead more with the heart than with their mind? More on emotion?
I don't know, but you see, Lebanese, they are very smart. They are head of countries, head of enterprise companies. They are everywhere. They are very smart. But in Lebanon, they are in this sectarian system. I can't understand. If you have an answer for this question, I would be glad to hear it. But it's really weird, huh? That Lebanese, that they are everywhere and they play a vital, an important role everywhere. You find them incel, prisoner of this system. Why?
Well, if you don't know, I definitely don't know, Dr. Nidal. Dr. Nidal, let's move on to the MENA region. Obviously, the MENA region is a big region. I think 22 countries, nations, spread throughout Middle East and North Africa. Can we talk a little bit about that and their different identities?
Well, MENA region is one of the most important region during the whole history. It's the land of all religions, in brackets. All religion came from this area, right? So it's a very particular area, and there is a lot of richness in their culture. Even you have part in Africa, part in the Mediterranean, part on the Gulf, on the Arab Gulf. So it's a very nice area. But you have a lot of identities, and you have a problem of identity there. Also, it's related to war. There's a lot of wars in this area, and I think the most challenge that they have this area is their image. Mainly, they have bad image between the brackets in the Western and the worldwide. It's really, really bad. But it's a very impressive. Hospitalities there are really amazing. I think you've been there, huh? You can start from Egypt, Jordani. You can go to Palestine. You can go to Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Gulf countries, Maghreb country, Morocco. It's really a very nice region, and I think if this region, all the countries of this region are united, we will talk about this region, because I think another thing than the bad image, I think is the problem with the countries in this region.
The Gulf and the Levant. So when we speak about the Gulf countries, we're speaking about Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Yemen. I'm probably missing a few. And then we've got the Levant, which is Jordan, Palestine, Syria, and Lebanon. Their culture is very different. but most of the time they are put into one big group, correct?
Yes. You know, diversity is very important. Even in the same country, you don't have one culture. Huh? Don't forget, Julie, in this area that you've mentioned, a lot of people are living there. You are talking about of million of people from different religions, from different sects, talking a lot of languages. And you know, you don't have only Arab there. You have people from Kurdistan, you have people from other nations. So you are really talking about a very, very, very rich area which played a role in the history. So the area is really amazing. But as I told you, diversity shouldn't be a problem. I think it's something positive. It's not something, you know, I think we've talked in the beginning of the podcast about tolerance and peace. I think this should be the main objective for all countries. So diversity is very important, and people should accept each other's. So if people accept each other's, accept their cultures, the thing will be much better, much better. Gulf countries and the Levant countries, they have huge connections because you are talking about usually the Levant country, they are more, you know, more famous in the history than the Gulf countries. Gulf countries, they are recent countries between brackets, you know, if we talk about the shape of the country. But if you talk about, for example, Levant countries, you know, you have Phoenician in Lebanon, Syria. So you are talking about a huge civilizations that been there. But as I told you, the problem there that this diversity, it hasn't been respected. We should more, if they accept each other's, things will be much better.
You mentioned a little earlier the image of the MENA region in the West. They have not been able to create their own narrative. Can you talk a little bit about that and why that is?
Well, you know, most of the MENA region is belonging to the third countries or south countries, if you want to be more diplomatic. So I think they have the same problem as South countries, because South countries is the dependence on their image, on the flow information from the North countries, from the Western countries. So between brackets, Western countries make your image. That's why these countries, they don't have a good image, and it went, I think, beyond these countries, because usually talk about the bad image, you don't talk about MENA region. It's mainly about Arabs and Muslims, and these countries as well. So first of all, they are, you know, dependence on the Western media to make their image, and they failed to work on this issue. So some countries, they tried that, they spend money, they buy media, you know, to get better image, and it didn't work, because if for me, I think paying money to make good your image, it's a bad image. So it was a very bad strategy, you know, so that's why they went as well on another direction. They have their own media, so usually their own media should be effective to help them to improve their image, right? Usually but this is not the case. I think the Arab media, they failed in a dramatic way in serving Arab and Islamic identity, because right now they don't, the image of Arabs and Muslim is not good. You know, Judy, the budget for media, mainly in rich Arab countries, it's the second budget after defense. So it's a huge But the system and the way that they are working is very bad. They are addressing inside, internally, not outside. So if you want to address inside your country, how can you do an international image? Arab media, their model is internal messaging. It's a propaganda for the system and mainly to affect, the public opinion internally, not externally. So your messaging is more internally. And even though you are failing in this task, which is, I think, for the amount money spent on it, it's a huge. So it should be much better. It should have much more results than that. So the model is not prepared to do a role on the international sphere. You understand me? It's like, for example, in CNN. Let's talk about CNN. If there is something on CNN, you affect the whole world, right? That's how you build your image. But if you talk whatever you want on Arabic channel, it's zero effect on your image.
So how can these governments appeal to the West? How can they create stories for the West?
First of all, they should change their mentality on the way that they treat media. Arab media, they have two problems. First problem, as I told you, that they have this system. So I think the first step, they should jump over it, and start in another way, because this model is failed. So you should really be another type of models, to go on. And second reason, which is related to first one, is credibility. This is another big issue for the Arab media. They are not credible. That's why they can't be effective, not even internally nor externally, because they are not, should be objective. Or, you should let people think that you are objective. Like Western media. Western media, they are not objective, but we feel that they are objective. So it's a big challenge. And another important reason to really do a good job for the identity and image, Arabs should not be fear, of media, because we feel it. Until now, we feel that there is a fear of media. I think when they believe that they can master media, if you can master media, you will not fear from it. So you can use it for your own things. You can do a lot if you master it, but if you don't master it, will be always afraid of it. And I think until now there is this fear from media. So that's why I think they have everything do very well in media. They have human resources, they have financial resources, they have all technology, so they don't have any excuse for not, doing a great job in media. But media, you should master it. You should not have this fear from it. This is the main point. And, you should be really credible. You should be objective, or trying, to show that you are objective. That's why you should change your narrative. That's why you should change your the model of storytelling. You should go for, storytelling. The style of storytelling is very important, and that's why you should go for soft messaging. You should stop on using hard messaging, which is a very effective way that people will, run away from you. So they should change a lot. And even though, and unfortunately, we see this in a lot of channels, they put political activists as the head of the media. So how can you have a good media that you have someone who's politically already oriented to do that? Even, you will be shocked, Julie, that some media, imagine some media in the Arab world, which are main countries that they are promoting tolerance, peace, and dialogue. But if you watch their channel, their international channel, you will find something else. You'll be shocked. So this is a problem. It's not hard to do it, but I think that we need I don't know, a decision, but as I told you, the main thing I think for me till now, Arabs are not able to master their media, or they think that they are not able to master it. That's why we see that there is a fear until this moment from media.
You mentioned CNN, and I don't know if our audience knows, some may not, that there is Al Jazeera, for example. Where do most Arabs, and I know this is a generalization, but where do most Arabs get their news from?
It depends what kind of Arabs. What's your agenda?
Mm.
Al Jazeera, if you are talking of Al Jazeera Arabic, because there is a difference between Al Jazeera Arabic and Al Jazeera English. They don't have the same narrative. You know that. It's well known to everyone. Al Jazeera, it came in a time there was no other media. That's why it succeeded very well. And after that, the editorial line of the channel has been changed, because as well the political line of the country have been changed. Al Jazeera, when it started, you could find inside it liberal, Nasserist, and Islamic. Al Jazeera, it has her own public. This public who's anti-Western, pro-Islamic, you understand? These kind of people will go directly to Al Jazeera. And Al Jazeera is the huge network. But unfortunately, the effect of Al Jazeera is not good for Arab and Islamic image. I did a research to do my PhD. And mostly, if you want to describe Al Jazeera, it's been done on the channel, because all Islamists, a group, if they want to talk, they through Al Jazeera. I think it failed in the English version to be an international channel and to have the same effect as they did in the Arabic, because in the Arabic they have a very clear objectives or editorial line, but I think in the English ones they have an identity problem, because they want to show something for a special audience, which is not the same audience, so we change messaging. So after that, we don't know what kind of stuff they are trying to promote. To effect on international level, you should, as we said, have a clear narrative, positive one. You should be credible. That's how you attract people from over the world. And even if you have really a clear editorial line, but you should change the mentality.
It seems like, and we've talked about this, right? How the MENA region is so big with so many different identities, so many different religious sects. So it seems like their identity is not clear, which enables them, does not allow them to have clear messaging, and they can't come up with a clear messaging.
We've been talking about the MENA region. I told you that one of the main problems, that challenges, is being united, and they are not united. And most of the conflicts in the MENA region, they are internal conflict.
I'm sorry, but they're also not united in their messaging of who they are, because
And
they're
everything.
So
No, if you are not united, that's why you have your media to affect your neighbors, not to affect on the outside. You understand me? So to defend your point of view. So if you are not united, for sure you will not have the same. And Julie, as well, there is a point we should really talk about it. MENA region. what identity? You know, Arab identity or Muslim identity? Uh, there is no one. There is no one identity. Arabs in Levant, Arabs in Maghreb, Arab in the Gulf countries, they are totally different. We thought that, for example, Gulf countries, they have only one identity because, you know, when we see someone from the Gulf, we see Khaliji. No, right now, no. Now you have Bahraini, you have Saudi, you have Emirati. Even, you know, it's divided. So I think even the word is getting, you know, being an Arab is very general. Being a Muslim is very general, you know. So that's why it's not the same identity. But, you know, the model, it didn't work because, you know, there is mainly 2 or 3 countries that they lead this media sector in the Arab world. You've mentioned Al Jazeera. Just there is one point we should point it here. You know, the fail is only on the political or social media, you know, but there is a huge success for sports. The model is good. Here we watch it in French. You know, it's not different because usually when you invest in media, you have mainly 2 models. Even you invest to have, you know, business model, you'll have money back, and this is not the case of most of Arab media. Or you have political income.
So the main issue is the political media. What you're saying is that when it comes to entertainment, when it comes to sports, they've got it down. It's more on the political side.
Exactly. It's political side, political media didn't work. And I think the Arab world, the Arab media, the Arab countries should work on that. It's really bad to see that because they really invest huge amount on that. So why it doesn't work? It should work, you know, but they should really change their narrative, change their style, trying going more and more, especially most of the Arab countries, they are asking for tolerance, peace, and so you should go on soft messaging. We should not see hard messaging on Arab TVs. You know, they should change all the stories, the way that they treat stories. You know, you have your clear editorial line, you know. For example, a media from country X, it's only watch on country X. This is another problem because when you watch any media outlet in the Arab world, you know directly what you will see. If we talk, for example, on the 7th of October, I know which channel, what will broadcast, what kind of content I will have from it.
I think they need to start with saying how different their identity is throughout the entire region. I think you start there. I think it's really about, you know, and I'm very naive, I'm very gullible. I wish that people would just show us who they are. I think the bottom line is honesty. It's just really showing who you are. At the end of the day, we're all humans. And if they can start at that point of who they are with their identity, they're different identities, they're different religious sects, they're different cultures. I think that would be a good starting point.
Certainly, it will be a very good point to start from. It's very important. And I can add that they should separate, you know, the political income and don't use media as an instrument to attack. You understand? It's better to use it, as you are saying, a channel for dialogue. You know, it's very important. You know, I think they should go for responsible content. This kind of content which aligns with your policies. You know, and this is very important. You know, being honest, being open to the others, talk with the others. I believe a lot in dialogue. Dialogue is very important. You know, I think there is a trio we should highlight, you know, tolerance, dialogue, and peace. Because if you don't have one of these angles, you will not go on. You should have tolerance to make dialogue, you know, and you should have both to achieve peace. So that's why I think media, they have a very, very, Julie, media is a noble profession. It's like medicine, like architecture. Imagine you go to a doctor and they give you a false medication. What will happen?
Yeah, there's consequences.
This is the same situation with media. Media should be responsible. It's a noble profession. That's why everything is said on air is very important. We should check it twice, thrice, and we think about the effect. So Arab media should go for positive effect, not negative one. This is, I think, the most challenging thing with the Arab media.
Well, speaking of tolerance and dialogue and peace, you have the International Committee of Countering Extremism and Hate Speech, which is a committee that you are launching very soon, correct?
Exactly. Not I'm alone. There is a group, a huge team working on this idea. Actually, the idea of International Committee on Countering Extremist and Hate Speech is starting in 2024. As everyone see, there is, the tension, a lot of tension because of wars. The situation is really bad everywhere, everywhere. So that's why the idea of this committee came is to have as much as we can people, personalities from all over the world to fight all together in a constructive method, this kind of speech that is appealing for hate and extremism. Hopefully, we'll be launching the committee next month, next April, and we will start from Italy. Hopefully, we'll be starting by around 150 to 150 supporting members from all over the globe, from all religions, all colors, from everywhere. We hopefully that we will have as well people from over than 80 countries, because Julie, we are here all together on this planet, and we don't have another option until now. Maybe Elon Musk in a few years will go to Mars, so we'll have options. But until now, we don't have this option. So we should live together. And living together, we should have a huge tolerance, in the daily life and the way that we treat each other. Because if we don't have tolerance, as I said before, we can't dialogue. So we should be responsible. We should have tolerance, we should dialogue, and we should all work to achieve peace. And this is a very, 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 very long road. The road is not short. It's very long. You have this kind of speech in media, indeed. You have it on social media. You have it as well with the political communication. So we have it everywhere. And so I think we should work all together to decrease this amount of extremism and hate in the speech that we see every day. And I think if we achieve that, we will have less wars, less conflicts.
And I think it's really important about what we say, right? What we say has such weight. And so we have to be responsible for the things that we verbalize.
Exactly. That's why I talked to you when we've been talking about media, about responsible content. For me, if you have something good to say, you say. If you have something too bad, don't say. As simple as and this is everywhere, If for example, to communicate with you, if I have something good, okay, that we can achieve something, why not? But I will not go for a negative, like, for example, negative messaging or something. No, we should really be very possible. We should be very responsible. We should really careful, very careful about what we say, especially if we are in the media or if we are politician, because one word could make a war, and as well one word could end the war. So that's why we should really choose what we want. So I think we should all be constructive, and be very responsible about what we say, about what we do, and try to make this world much better. Julie, I think that I don't have the exact number, but I think an observation, I think we spend more than 50% of our resources as a planet on security. You imagine that? So if we don't have conflicts, if we don't have wars, we'll be all rich.
I wish.
We all wish. So we are using a lot of money for bad thing. We are no. So let's make peace. Let's be tolerant. Let's dialogue with each others. This is very important. Let's reserve this. Let's reserve humanity. We are humans. Diversity is very important. We should respect, our difference
And celebrate them.
and celebrate them. Yeah, you do whatever you want. I do whatever you want. With respect.
Yeah.
With respect, with peace. We can live in peace. I think we have our solution, but do we really want to do it? This is the question.
Yeah. And I think I'm going to just go back to what you said. Words have power. And if we treated our words in that sense, we would be much careful with what we say.
Exactly. I totally agree with you.
Dr. Nidal, since this is a podcast about Arabs, the Arab world, the MENA region, is there any last message that you would like to leave our audience with?
Well, first of all, I would address our audience in the Western country. Don't really believe on what you hear about Arab countries or Arab. Don't have a stereotype about certain people, certain country, or go there, visit there, live with the people, eat with the people. I think you will construct your own image, and I think I'm sure that would be much better than the ones that you see on the media. For the Arab countries, I hope and that they could work all together to really do a lot of positive thing, for their people, because all the people there, they want to change, they want really to live. So I invite them to, as we said before, just go for tolerance, go for peace, go for dialogue, and I think a lot of things will be changing.
I hope so. Dr. Nidal, thank you so much for coming on the show. Will you please let our audience know where they can find you if they want to get in touch with you or follow you?
Thank you, Julie, for this podcast. I am on Instagram, LinkedIn, X, TikTok, Facebook, and they can find me as well on YouTube, but I don't have a channel, but the things that I contribute, they can find it on YouTube.
Perfect.
And if anyone has any question or anything, they can contact me directly through social media.
This is one thing that every single one of my episodes has ended with my guests saying, if you have any questions, if you want to know anything, please reach out. And I think that's so kind. And it just goes to show the generosity and kindness of Arabs and people from the region.
This is our identity. This is our DNA. We like to share.
I
We
love
like to
that.
discover and we like to share. So it's really a pleasure, you know. We don't say it just to sing it. We really, if there is someone that they would like to, I don't know, their question or something, I will be very pleased to answer. So I told you where I am, so you can find me easily, and I'm really be happy to answer that.
No, absolutely. And it always comes from a very genuine, authentic place. So I know that you mean that. You and all my guests have meant that. Dr. Nidal, thank you so much. And I hope to one day meet you in Paris.
Thank you, Julie. Indeed, you are invited to Paris, and as well, I hope that we meet, me and you, in the Arab world.
Oh, that would be great. I would love that. Thank you so much, Dr. Nidal.
Thank you.